There are few things more stressful for a homeowner than dealing with a damaged roof. It's the main shield for your entire house, and when it's compromised, everything just feels, well, vulnerable. But here's the good news. Getting it fixed doesn't have to be a total nightmare. Together, we're going to break down how to spot the trouble, how to find a real pro, and how to protect what is probably your biggest investment.
So let's just start with the biggest question on the table. Is your roof trying to tell you something? Because here's the thing. Roofs almost never fail overnight. They send out little warnings first, distress signals, if you will. And learning how to read them, that's your best defense against a small issue turning into a catastrophe.
And that leads us right into our first section. We're going to put on our detective hats and learn how to spot those early warning signs. Seriously, knowing what to look for can be the difference between a pretty simple repair and a full-blown, wallet-draining replacement. And the signs are actually pretty simple once you know what they are. You see those little black specks, those granules in your gutters? That's not just dirt. That's the protective layer, kind of like this sunscreen for your shingles, washing away. It's a classic sign of aging. And if you see water stains on your ceiling, well, that means the problem has already invited itself inside. And wow, does your location matter? If you live somewhere like northern Minnesota, the weather is just brutal on your roof. You've got heavy snow piling on the weight, you get ice dams that actually force water to flow up under your shingles. But the real silent killer is that freeze-thaw cycle. Water sneaks into a tiny crack, freezes, expands, and boom, a tiny crack is now a big problem. It happens fast. Okay, so let's say you've spotted some of those warning signs. The next step is not to panic. It's to understand what's actually going on. So let's jump into section 2 and decode the damage and see what the different fixes really look like. A roof isn't just a roof, right? The material it's made of completely changes the game. For most homes with asphalt shingles, a fix could be as simple as swapping out a few that are missing or curled. But on a metal roof, you're looking at things like sealing seams or tightening panels. The bottom line is, the repair has to match the roof type. But what about an emergency? Like, a storm rips a hole in your roof in the middle of the night. You don't have to just sit there and watch it rain in your attic. Good contractors have emergency services. They can come out and tarp the roof right away to, stop the bleeding. It buys you precious time to plan a real, permanent fix without the extra water damage. All right, this is the big one. This is where people get nervous. You know you've got a problem, you know it's fixable, but who on earth do you trust to do the work? Hiring a contractor can feel like you're just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. But it really doesn't have to be that way. Let's walk through how to find a real pro. So, why is hiring a licensed contractor such a huge deal? Well, it is not just a piece of paper. In a place like Minnesota, that license means they've actually passed a state exam, it means they're insured, so if someone gets hurt, it's not your financial problem, and they have to do continuing education to stay up to date. Best of all, it gives you access to something called the Contractor Recovery Fund. It's basically a safety net run by the state in case the job goes horribly wrong.
Okay, think of this as your must-do homework before you hire anyone. It's a simple 4-step checklist. First, verify that license number. Then, make sure they have a real local address. Call their past clients, their references. And finally, do a quick online search for any lawsuits. It takes a little time, but it is your absolute best defense against getting scammed.
And just as important is knowing what to run away from. Any high-pressure sales tactics? That's a bad sign. They're trying to make you decide before you can do your homework. And if a contractor ever offers to pay your insurance deductible, that's a massive red flag. It's often illegal. A real pro will be transparent, professional, and patient. Now here's a little insider tip that trips up a lot of people. The word registered is not the same as licensed. It sounds official, but as you can see, a registered contractor offers basically zero consumer protections, no required insurance, no access to that recovery fund. You want someone who is licensed, period. And this is what it's all about. This is the goal. When you do that homework we just talked about, this is the kind of experience you get. No surprises, no hidden costs, just the peace of mind you were looking for from the very beginning. All right, you've done your research, you've picked your pro. That's fantastic. Now we're in the home stretch before the work begins. We've got to talk about the cost and, maybe most importantly, the contract. This is where everything gets put down in writing to protect you. So let's talk numbers. This chart gives you a rough ballpark of what you might expect to pay per square foot, depending on your roof.
Now, obviously, this isn't a firm quote, but it's a great tool to have. It helps you get a feel for your budget, and it's a good sanity check when those estimates start rolling in. If a quote seems way out of line with these numbers, you should definitely ask why.
Okay, everybody lean in close for this one because it's super important. A salesperson might hand you a clipboard with something called an authorization form. They'll say, oh, this is just so I can get on the roof, or it's just to let me talk to your insurance. No, it is not. In almost every case, that form is a legally binding contract. If you sign it, you could be locked in. Never, ever sign anything you haven't read from top to bottom.
So what does a good contract look like? Well, it needs all of this stuff. A detailed summary, what materials they're using, the price, but pay close attention to that last one, a change order clause. This little sentence is your best friend. It means if they find something unexpected, they can't just add it to the bill. They have to stop, explain it to you, and get your written approval before they do any extra work. It keeps you in control. And don't forget, you have rights. If a contractor is the one who knocks on your door, a storm chaser, and you sign something, the law often gives you a 3-day cooling off period to cancel, no questions asked. Also, if the whole job depends on your insurance claim going through, the contract has to let you off the hook if the claim gets denied. These are crucial safety nets for you. Okay, take a deep breath. The contract is signed. The crew did a great job. The new roof looks fantastic, and your home is safe again. The stressful part is over. But this last section is all about making a little shift from being reactive to being proactive, so you don't have to go through all this again anytime soon. And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. Just because the repair truck drove away doesn't mean the job is done. A little maintenance goes a very long way. We're talking twice a year. Spring and fall are perfect. Just clear out your gutters and take a look at the seals around anything that pokes through your roof, like vents or a chimney. That's where most leaks get their start. Think of it this way. Every single dollar you spend on simple maintenance, like cleaning your gutters or recaulking a seal, can save you hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars later on. It's what stops tiny issues from turning into huge problems like rot, mold, and all that interior damage. It's the cheapest insurance you can buy for your home's value. So we'll just leave you with this final thought. A repair fixes the damage that's already there, but being proactive, that prevents the damage that's coming next. So the real question isn't just, is my roof fixed? It's, am I ready to be the one who keeps it that way?